instance, we've got this Porsche 911 Carrera S. This is the 2015 year. This is now 3-litre twin turbocharged. It's in an incredible specification, finished in jet black metallic, complemented with the 20-inch Carrera S Edition 2 alloys. You've got the PDLS dynamic cornering headlights, side folding side door mirrors. My favorite thing about the 991.2 is just the way this rear end as well as the front end looks incredibly aggressive. This being the black on black, it's got it all, both just the optional sort of major key items, but also the extra optional specification with the centered sports exhaust, giving it, you know, that kind of similarity to the GT3 Plus. On the interior, you've got everything you would want, starting from Bose, the premium sound system, the 14-way electrically adjustable sports seats plus with Porsche crest on the headrest, sports steering wheel which is heated with a sports chrono plus button right there, the chrono watch, sports exhaust, PSM. You've got the button for the wind deflector, the front seats are heated, you've got Apple CarPlay and the interior light package, and ultimately there's going to be a lot of spec that I would have missed out on. Before I actually take you to the front boot, I absolutely love the way that rear boot lid opens up to allow you to check your coolant and engine oil. I'll close this back up. Normally on a coupe, it just lifts, you press the button, you can lift that rear boot lid up. But on this, it's convertible, you've got to hold that button, wait for it to get into service mode. At the front, you've got a very large boot which can safely tuck away 2 medium-sized suitcases and enough space on the side as well as the top. Before I can do anything else, what I'd like to do is a cold start so you can hear what it sounds like. I'll just press the accelerator so you can hear what it sounds like standard, and then I will turn on the sports exhaust button and open up the valves. So this is the standard sound. These sound incredible on a cold start, but wait till these valves open up. So let me press that, and hopefully in the microphone you can even pick up the sound of what it sounds like once these valves on the exhaust open. To do this 911 any sort of real justice, what we need to do is to take it out for a drive, and let's get on the road. Whenever I'm getting into a 911, I always find it quite refreshing because it's an experience, and in terms of an everyday car at the moment, I drive a Range Rover to get me from A to B. The other thing I wanted to show you was this wind deflector, which you can actually put down with a press of a button right there, and if you actually press that again, lifts back up and goes back down quite easily. And that's a great improvement from the generation 997.2, where you had to physically put in and take off a wind deflector. So they've made it incredibly easy to be able to do this in this generation. The other thing I absolutely love about the 991.2 generation is that you don't need to put a lot of effort in making this exhaust burble, gurgle, and just give you the gurgles and the sort of aggressiveness and the character that you would normally inherit from the turbos. Honestly, especially when you're able to put your foot down a little bit whilst you're in the sports mode, and it's holding that second gear to about 3,500, 4,000 RPM, and whilst it holds the rev high, you let your foot off the throttle pedal and it just burbles, and then you accelerate a little bit, burbles again, and it's that continuity of sound that you're able to get from the exhaust system, the turbos, and from the engine. We've got this tunnel coming up. Let's hear it under this. Another thing that Porsche has brought on to the Porsche 911 model is the PDK transmission. That PDK transmission was introduced in 2009 in the 997.2. In this model 911, this is the third iteration of the PDK transmission, and I think, in my opinion, the best iteration. The gear changes are incredibly seamless and just such a refined feel and drive. Incredibly beautiful silhouette with the aggressive lines on the front bumper, on the rear, that's centered like GT3 exhaust system. Performance numbers that I think compares to the GT3 model from 2014, definitely from the 997.2 GT3, and ultimately you basically have this gearbox complemented with the 3-litre twin turbocharged engine. It's a match made in heaven. Performance, handling, and the seamless gear changes, and there's still a lot of playfulness to it because you've got the paddle shifts on the sport steering wheel, so you could use this to drop the gears, or you could use it to go up a gear. And you've also got the gear selector, the leather gear selector here on the car. You flick that to the left, you can push it, and that always keeps you manually engaged with your Porsche. At no point does it make you miss having a manual transmission, because if you want the manual transmission and the ability to flick through the gears, there you go. And this is not really, I mean, technically called a fully automatic transmission. It's called a semi-automatic or a clutchless automatic. So ultimately you just don't have the ultimately what you don't have is the clutch pedal, but all the engineering and the technical side of what a manual 911 should have, this is what it really has. It's just without a clutch pedal. I love the ability of the wind deflector in the rear to be able to keep the draft out. I'll raise those back windows. So I hope I have said enough in regards to the gearbox and the engine. I think what we need to do is now move on to talking about the impressive performance numbers. The 3-litre twin turbocharged engine, no longer the 3.8 litre naturally aspirated. The performance numbers have, of course, gone up from its predecessor, the 991.1, producing 395 brake horsepower, this 414 bhp, and its predecessor producing a torque of 420 newton meters of torque, this producing 500 newton meters of torque. A 0 to 62 miles per hour figures have also improved. Porsche underestimates it massively, saying that this does the 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.1 seconds. I'm sure it's slightly quicker than that. And then, of course, it has phenomenal ability. If you want to do a stage 1 remap to get more out of your car, you can do so as well. And the top speed is a phenomenal 186 miles per hour. And hopefully these are just some of the things about this 911 that should put you at ease, both from the practicality of it, because you've got that front boot, you've got the 2 rear seats at the back, so if you've got 1 or 2 kids, you can easily get them into the back of this 911. Even as an adult, I can easily get into the back of this. It being a convertible, I don't have to worry about the headspace. So if you've got tall children, they will surely be comfortable enough to get into the back of this. And if you just need to have something a little bit understated, the convertible obviously is the epitome of what a proper lifestyle Grand Tourer car should be. Something that you can enjoy and have fun in on these beautiful summer days, but at the same time the performance is unbelievable. It's far from this being in any way, form or shape a letdown, because what it has to offer performance wise is absolutely out of this world. Now in terms of paperwork, we've got a nice beautiful file for this Porsche 911. Our cameraman is also the valeter, so he's actually done a fantastic job on treating the leather interior and cleaning the inside. Looks absolutely fantastic, almost like new. Now, paperwork wise, it's got a fantastic service history. Graham, he's owned it for the past 8 years now, and he was basically owned it for longer than anybody else, and it's done 42,500 miles in this 911. In terms of service history, it's Porsche Centre East London again, Porsche with us, specialist, and then we've done a big major service recently on it that included basically spark plugs, the drive belt, engine oil filter, brake fluid, cabin pollen filter and air filter, and a full vehicle inspection. The brakes and the tires have over 50% life remaining as it stands currently, and just continues to give a couple of final notes from the previous customer. And then this is a summary of all the service history. This is the HPI. It is completely HPI clear, specless there. V5 with the current owner, you could see he's purchased it in January 2017. So I had it for about 8 years. All the MOT record is here. And these are some of the invoices of servicing and works it's had done over the years at the main dealer, specialist, further invoices, specialist, and there as well. And that's the invoice with us, and then that's the service book with all the key items being stamped and also mentioned in the service book. So hopefully that's all you need to have for this Porsche 911 service history wise. It's all here in the file. It's in pretty neat, tidy condition. My colleague Mo, as well as our valeter, detailer, cameraman, he's been polishing this just to make it as good as possible, so that when it's actually going to its next home, it can be enjoyed and cherished and loved like you would expect a 911 to be loved. So thank you very much for watching the video.